Welcome to this month's webinar of the Virtual Tour 2024, sponsored by the Alabama Department of Commerce. This month's session will focus on the wonderful state of Alabama. Before we begin, I wanted to quickly introduce myself. My name is Jansen Oliver, and I am the Market Entry Specialist here at the German American Chamber of Commerce of the Southern U.S. I want to personally thank you for attending our wonderful webinar and being a part of our virtual tour of the Southern United States. For those of you who have attended in our previous webinar, welcome back. Before we begin, I wanted to go ahead and hand it over to our lovely President and CEO of the GACC South, Mr. Matthias Hoffman.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jensen, and welcome and good morning to everyone on this side of the Atlantic, and good afternoon to our audience members joining us from Germany today. So thank you for being here with us today on our virtual tour through the Southern US. And today our roadshow stop brings us to the great state of Alabama. Really happy to welcome back also those of you who joined previous episodes, and I'd like to give a warm welcome to those joining us for the very first time. So I strongly believe that this event format is a great tool to strengthen the relationships between our southern region here and German companies and institutions, and making you all a little bit more familiar with what the South has to offer. So I personally have been visiting Alabama quite frequently, and I must say that every time I'm passing the Sweet Home Alabama road sign and entering the state of Alabama, it really brings a smile to my face. Why? First of all, you win an hour entering the central time zone, but joke aside, 3 points here. First of all, Southern hospitality. You can really feel that. Very warm-hearted, very welcoming people in Alabama. And we all know that culture makes a big difference in our daily lives. And second, we have such an active German community over there with around, 80 German companies in Auburn, in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Huntsville, Mobile, just a couple of cities which are active in quite attractive sectors: automotive, aerospace, life sciences, just to name a few of them. And whenever I talk to them, I feel that they really call Alabama their second home, but also help each other out and are in close contact with each other. And we will hear more about that from our official affiliate, the Alabama-Germany Partnership, and Tina Hofmeister being on this call as well. And last but not least, the state of Alabama, but also county and municipal governments are extremely helpful, open-minded, and active. And again, we will probably hear firsthand testimonials of 2 German companies, one already established, the other one ramping up in Alabama right now, which will give us some real-life examples on that. But I also think today's event is quite an example where you can see that even our dear Secretary of Commerce of Alabama took the time out of her busy schedule to welcome us on that virtual roadshow stop. So by the way, Ellen McNair, thank you very much for joining. First woman in this role in the history of the Department of Commerce in Alabama. And Ellen, you bring in a great track record into the Department of Commerce. You have brought 600 projects with a capital investment, I think more than $8 billion to Alabama, and created almost 30,000 jobs in the local communities there. And when you and I both first met in Birmingham for the first time, and exchanged business cards, I read the card which said Wirtschaftsministerin in German language, and that already gave me an impression of what kind of importance you put in our German business community, and of course your professionalism as a true economic developer. So without further ado, thank you very much for making the time to be here with us today, and the virtual microphone is yours.
Thank you so very much for that incredibly warm welcome. I am Ellen McNair, Secretary of Commerce for the state of Alabama, and I'm so proud to represent Governor Kay Ivey and serve on her executive cabinet. And during Governor Ivey's 7-year in office, her administration has recruited over $48 billion in new capital investment and announced over 86,000 new jobs. Alabama has an excellent pro-business climate and a diverse industrial base, a low tax burden, and a robust logistics infrastructure. We are a state of 5 million people with an economy that is driven by manufacturing, which provides almost 300,000 jobs to the Alabama citizens. Our manufacturing sector is diverse and includes companies from aerospace, automotive, agriculture, bioscience, forestry, advanced materials, and the chemical industry. And speaking of being diverse, we pride ourselves in the diversity of our economy, evidenced by the location of over 400 foreign-based companies from more than 30 countries. We have launched aerospace companies, led automotive production, and are homes to startup, technologies, and research breakthroughs. We're home to world-class companies like the ones that you mentioned earlier in Airbus, Amazon, Meta, Boeing, Google, and so many more. Our state is a hub for major automotive manufacturing, such as Mercedes, Honda, Hyundai, Toyota, and Mazda. And we lead the U.S. in automotive exports. We're recognized as having one of the top workforce training programs in the country, and that contributes to our world-class talent and our skilled workforce. After listening to this webinar and hearing from our two excellent companies, Winkleman and Mila, we hope you'll agree that our state offers what all companies are looking for: an exceptional business climate, low cost of living, thriving communities, and a team willing to assist you all along the way, to make Alabama a soft landing spot for business and individuals alike. Thank you so very much to the German American Chamber of Commerce for giving us this opportunity to showcase the wonderful assets that attracts companies to our state and helps companies to be successful in Alabama. We'd like to thank all the participants for joining us today and learning more about what makes Alabama a great state for doing business. So thank you so very much. Christoph, do I turn it over to you now?
Yeah, thanks a lot for your kind words of welcome, Secretary of Commerce Al McNear. Thanks a lot. And also I would like to welcome all participants. And I'm very pleased that so many have registered for our virtual tour Alabama today. Thank you, Matthias, for your welcome, but also for the opportunity for this virtual tour to introduce Alabama's great advantages. And many thanks to Jensen Oliver for the moderation. I would also like a very special welcome to our panelist, Ruben Fierfus. He will manufacture oven stoves and other household appliances for the American market in Alabama. And Sebastian Töhle, with its subsidiary in the US, Winkleman has winning business from American aerospace companies. I will start to tell you something about Alabama today, but also about the opportunities that arise from the rapidly growing market for European companies. I also started and run the business in Alabama myself from 2005 till 2012, and I learned about the great opportunities available to a company in a growth market. We have a very tight market in Europe, especially in Germany, and it's very difficult to grow there. It is usually just possible through prices, as there are enough good competitors. It is completely different in a growth market where there is a need for good suppliers. Many people who do not work directly for Mercedes or Airbus still think about Alabama in terms of cotton, the textile industry, a lot of wood, and the steel industry. Alabama today, things look very different. And I will tell you more in the following slides about the industries in Alabama. In recent years, more than 480 companies come from abroad and have invested in Alabama. Most of them came from Germany because of Mercedes. But in the recent years, we have also seen a strong increase from all European countries and no longer just from the automotive industry. This slide shows why a huge market for suppliers has developed in the Southeast. 30 years ago, there was no OEM in this region, and today there are 5 OEMs just in Alabama. And since the start of Mercedes in 1995, automobile production has developed rapidly. Today, Alabama is already the #1 exporter of automobiles, and it looks like to become the #2 in automobile production. And also after the end of the combustion engine, things will continue in Alabama. All OEMs have invested massively in e-mobility in recent years. Mercedes alone, more than $1 billion. Among other interesting research topics, I would like to highlight our AMP Center, which was founded by Mercedes, the University of Alabama, and Alabama Power. The goal is to bring together the entire know-how in the field of battery and e-mobility, from the basic research to manufacturing methods and employee training. The AMP Center, he can be a great multiplier for companies to network with potential customers and partners. It was very interesting for us at the battery show in Stuttgart this summer. We were really surprised about the high level we were noticed. But in addition to the rapidly growing automotive industry, aerospace can also be a very interesting market for European companies. While Werner Braun's team has already created a huge space hub in Huntsville in the north with today more than 400 space companies, now Airbus starting in the south, a center of the aircraft manufacturing. I like this example from the growth of Airbus as a very well. With the launch of with Airbus in Mobile, Airbus is also getting now orders from American airlines that had ordered almost from Boeing in the past. And this is an important topic, that an investment in the US does not decrease the parent company in Europe, but help to grow as it is operating in a new market. But also the chemical industry has developed very interestingly in Alabama, with companies from Europe, just BASF, Evonik, and Linde. They are all located in our so-called chemical valley in the south. Also very interesting topic for me, after the end of the cotton in Alabama, more and more forests was planted, so that today Alabama is one of the largest timber producers in the US. And this slide shows impressively how strong the development in the wood and the wood processing industry is in Alabama today. But also for me, very excited to see how the good economic policy of the government in the recent years has not only led to a great foreign investment, but also created its own bioscience and medtech industry. More than 780 companies started in this sector, which is now also highly recognized abroad. For this reason, we will also have a delegation at medtech in Düsseldorf this year. But not only automotive and aerospace, now also household appliances. We are very pleased that Miele has chosen Opelika in Alabama as its first production site in the US. I'm sure Mr. Vierfuss will tell us more about this investment. Also investments made heavily in green technologies, perhaps a little later than in Germany, but now on a massive scale. One example is First Solar, which is investing over 1.1 billion in a new plant in Alabama. And energy companies now offer also very interesting options for companies that want to use renewable energies. But the question is, where this incredible economic development come from? For me, two very important topics. The first is the government's very pro-business policy. And the second topic is our AIDT, our Workforce Development Agency. 50 years ago, Alabama realized that things could not go on like this. the most important industry, the textile industry, is moving away, and not everyone can work at NASA as a space engineer. That's why Alabama made the groundbreaking decision for success back then. Alabama will focus on production companies, and all companies will not only get free of costs employee training, but also support in the recruiting of the employees. And this is not only at the beginning when a company starts in Alabama, it's over the whole life of the company. With every expansion, they get the support they need. That was also when I was thinking back about starting my business in Alabama. Our biggest concern was, how do I get employees? I have a customer, the financing was done, and I was sure I can buy some machines and I will get a building. But what happens if no one works there? So I have personally experienced. AIDD did a very great job, and that was our greatest asset we have and we get in this time. Here are a few examples how AIDT works. And again, everything is free of charge for the companies. But also, for example, they give financial supports for training abroad, or if employees are sent from Germany for training purposes. Here is also a general overview of training and education opportunities. I have already explained AIDT. And then we have our community colleges. They are in each region for general education of technologies, normally according to the needs in the specific region and companies which are there. And we have some very interesting universities. Alabama also offers all the usual incentives. We always make an individual offer for the companies because it's now we need a little more time to discuss this, but you are also welcome to contact me or my colleagues later to discuss that deeper. And a few days ago, I came across the following slide on LinkedIn, and I find despite its growth, Alabama is still a state with very low labor costs compared to other states. But as this slide shows, and as I and my former employee have personally experienced, Alabama is also a great place to live. And I think that is very important also for companies from Europe or Germany, if they have to send employees to work a few years in Alabama. Even today, I'm still asked from my former employees if I would have a job for them in Alabama. The whole family really enjoyed their stay there. It usually took 1-2 years for the employees to settle in, but then they usually didn't want to go back. And this brings us to the topic of the Alabama-Germany partnership, which was founded because of the large German community in Alabama. And I'm very happy that Tine Hofmeister will be sharing a few more words on this with us. Tine, the microphone is yours.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everybody. Thank you, Christoph, for allowing me to say a few words, which is, of course, going to be hard about the Alabama-Germany partnership. I mean, hard to say a few words. And a special thank you to the GACC South for hosting this webinar. And we really enjoy a great working relationship with them. My name is Tine Hofmeister. I'm the Secretary Director for the Alabama-Germany Partnership, in short, which I will be using going forward, AGP. I've been in this position for the past 12 years, and I lived here in the States for the past 29 years. I came over, as so many others, as a 2-year expat, and just ended up staying because I really enjoy being here. The office is located in Birmingham, which is kind of in the middle of the state. We were created 26 years ago with a mission of connecting people, educational institutions, and businesses in Alabama and Germany, with the goal of helping bridge cultural divides to allow people to successfully interact with each other, but also to support education and help facilitate growth in our German companies. The organization is a statewide nonprofit and it is membership driven. AGP has over 150 members and many supporters with representatives from everything from manufacturing, economic development, education, government, legal, accounting, small businesses, just to name a few. And that diversity we have in our membership is also reflected in the composition of the board of directors that govern the organization. We are structured within 3 priorities, as you see here in the slides: culture, education, and business. Christoph, if you go to the next slide. We are an extremely active organization with participation from many of the Alabama's leading German and American companies. And on the map, you can see, I'm sorry, the map is a little small, but you can see our current Germany companies listed, and you can see how they are spread all over Alabama. We also have some of our German members listed here. So the German companies in Alabama provide an abundance of opportunities for Alabamians, and AGP helps spotlight these opportunities by featuring them in our monthly newsletter, on our social media, and we also like to arrange company tours and promote employment, internship, and apprenticeship opportunities at the companies. And with a new German company located in the US, and they bring in experts and they bring in their families, it can often be a challenge for the family to adapt in a brand new environment. So we are here on the sideline and can support the families and connecting them to the community, either with German expert or some of our local members. We have even helped do play dates for kids, find English lessons, or find job opportunities for the spouses, or just help them better understand how things work. And also with activities in Alabama offers so much. So if we have groups that come in interested in hiking, outdoor, theater, whatever, we can even direct in that way. We will do whatever it helps to get them integrated here in the state. And we all know the happier the family, the longer the expert is willing to stay, and they might even end up like me, staying for the rest of their lives here. Christoph, if you would go to the last slide. Our organization hosts and facilitates different events over the year, everything from Stammtisch, German dinners, cultural awareness workshop, business forum, and networking events. And these events help our German companies market themselves and their operations. They might even find future suppliers and business partners. And I would like to name a few of them. We have our German Business Committee, which is created for the leaders of the German companies in Alabama. And they will meet 4 to 6 times a year to discuss different topics and host different speakers. And this is a really great way to learn and share best practices to be successful in Alabama. In the group, we have brand new companies that comes in, but we also have companies that have been here for many, many years. We also created an AGP Young Professionals group, and that has been important to us to build up that group to get the younger generations involved in mission of AGP, but also get them connected to our German companies in the state. The age is 17 to 39, so some are still in school. The leadership group is a great mixture of Americans that have learned German as a second language and been an exchange student in Germany, and Germans that started out as students in Alabama, and also German professional expats. Yearly, we also host a trip to Germany. It's called a study trip to Germany, and we normally have 15 to 20 participants, typical the diverse group that our membership reflects. And that trip introduced the participants to German educational institution, helped them explore student exchange opportunity and other professional subjects like research projects. But the group also gets to visit German companies that's represented in Alabama, which create a stronger tie between Germany and Alabama, and also gets a better understanding of the inside of the company and what the needs are back in the state of Alabama. And think I can say for all the Alabamians, we're always proud of the German companies here in Alabama. But when we get to connect with them at the headquarters in their home state, they really get that pride up to a totally different level. And we actually just returned from Germany, and this trip we got to enjoy visits with Winkel Flow Forming and Miele that you will hear from later today. We also create opportunities for the companies to connect with different educational institutions here in the state of Alabama, and that includes the high school with German programs, community colleges for technical education, university with engineering and business student. And this is great to support the workforce pipeline building. And to wrap it up, I would like to mention our annual dinner that this next year is going to take place on March the 6th. That's our biggest event of the year. Attracts about 300 plus people from the German-American leaders from many different sectors. We use the event to celebrate the Alabama-Germany friendship, but also to recognize the German investment and the impacts it has on Alabama. Our keynote speaker this time will be the German ambassador to the United States, Andreas Michaelis. And of course, we would love to see you there. So thank you so much for your time and attention. And I hope I made it short enough so I will still be allowed to come back for this. Thank you so much, and back to you, Jensen.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Tina, and thank you, Secretary McNair and Christoph, for that wonderful presentation and information about the state of Alabama. We will now begin our panel discussion with local German best practice companies who have established themselves in Alabama. Before we begin, I want to let them introduce themselves, starting with Mr. Reuven.
Thank you very much, Jensen. I hope you can hear me, and I'm sorry, but I'm right now in the middle of a road trip, so hope everyone can hear me. It's fine. My name is Reuven Pierfuss. I'm the managing director for Ovens, as you already heard from Christopher, and responsible for the production and the research and development of our ovens inside of Miele. And I work with Miele now for more than 15 years. I was also responsible for the project of our first production plant in the United States, which will be now in Alabama, in Opelika. And I'm really glad to share with you some experience we made on the way so far in the next couple of minutes. And yes, I guess I'm going to hand over to Sebastian. He's going to introduce himself.
Now switching on the microphone. Thank you very much as well. And good morning or good afternoon from my side. Sebastian Töhle, I'm the CEO of Winkelmann Flow Forming. As you can see from my background picture, we are in various industrial applications, starting in the ground and moving up to the space. And we are having our plant in Auburn, Alabama, since now 2017. We are very happy with that, and I'm also happy to be part of this panel discussion today to give you further insights of the move from Winkelmann to the United States.
Awesome. Thank you both, and thank you once again for participating in our event today. So now a brief introduction of how our panel discussion will work today. Our speakers will be asked a series of questions that we feel like highlight the top questions when expanding to the U.S. These questions will come either from our internal questions or questions from our attendees, which is y'all. Should you have a question, please type it in the chat. I'll make sure to read it in the chat and ask our attendees. And then with all that being said, our panel discussion at the end will leave time also for direct questioning, where you can turn off your mic and ask our panelists direct questions, and they will have the opportunity to answer it. Or if they do not know the answer, they will just say, "I have no idea the answer." And with that, I thank our speakers, and let's begin our panel discussion, starting with Mr. Reuven. So let's start with base one, Mr. Reuven. What makes Alabama a good location for Miele?
Well, we heard a lot, which was really important for us in our decision process already from the previous speakers. And let me just point out two things that were really important at the end, because we did a quite intense site selection process here. And we started with in 15 states actually, and narrowed it down to 3. And at the end, we chose Alabama and Opelika for our new location. And obviously, one of the main reasons was workforce. We already heard, and the business climate in Alabama. And of course, the support we got from the local authorities, which was absolutely astonishing. So thanks for that. And some of our supporters are, I guess, in the call. So thanks for that so far. And yeah, one reason for me was also the actually when it comes as a German company, how to assess your new location was the flight way in. So a good direction from Frankfurt, for example, to Atlanta, and then a driving distance in 2.5 hours. We're in Opelika. That was also small, but a really important fact that at the end, yeah, led to the decision to go to Opelika.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Sebastian, same question for you.
So basically, to be honest, Alabama hasn't been on our agenda for finding a location. So we had 10 locations, and Alabama wasn't part of that. But then we met one person that really promoted Alabama, and in the end, you have to say Alabama won against 10 other countries in the United States. And it wasn't about all these nice plug and play items like a limousine picking you up at the airport, but it was more the full support that was really given from the local departments in Auburn or in Alabama that really supported us for our way from Germany to the United States. And that was for us much, much more important than all these nice surroundings. And in the end, yeah, we have to say, in the last 8 years, we don't regret our decision because it started with a very good cooperation and with a very good collaboration also with the local authorities and the local support. And it continues this way in the last 8 years. So any wish we have, any challenge we have, we will be fully supported. And therefore, we can only recommend really to take that step if you are thinking about this really with Alabama.
Awesome. Thank you. Reuven, how does the U.S. business environment differ from Germany when it comes to business practices and market expectations?
Well, Germany and Europe, especially Germany, is our home market. So we are a German-based company, obviously, family-owned, and we exist for more than 125 years now in Germany, and Germany is still the biggest market for us. But when it comes to the market expectations, when you look at the growth numbers this year and last year and the expectations for the next years, Germany is suffering and Europe also. So growth expectations are not that excellent, I would say, in our business. United States is different. There is more growth. There are a lot of opportunities, and it's the biggest market when it comes to the size of the people, like a closed market for us. So we sell in the United States our products for more than 40 years now. Well, ovens not for the long time, but we haven't had the chance to open a production plant in the United States for now. But we think that the growth opportunity is in the United States really, really high when it comes to the next years. And we see a lot of challenges in China and in other countries. And it's still, I think that's one big reason that we decided to invest in the United States for the future. And that differs at the moment a lot to Europe.
Thank you for that information. Sebastian, how did your company establish connections with companies when your company got established in the United States? Did you already have connections when you got here, or did you have to make new ones?
No, we really had to do new ones. I mean, if you look back again to my background picture, so we do also a lot of aviation and space activities. Our move was to really become part of this huge market in the United States, which is much, much bigger than in Europe in terms of space and aviation and also defense. When we moved here, we really had, first of all, to get all the licenses, yeah, and then you really had to do the cold sales activities, really going to the customers, convince them about Winkelmann, about our processes, because our process is also not known to everyone. And it took us a lot of time also until the first cereal business. But during that period, we have been very much supported by the state of Alabama on the one hand, and also for our grand opening in 2019, which we did honestly 2 years after we established the plant. We have also been fully supported, even with an opening ceremony of people from Washington coming over to really support our step into this market. Yeah, and that was really good. And still today we are having new customer discussions to really make ourselves more reliable and more known in the US market.
Awesome. Thank you for that information. Christoph, on that same topic of connections and meeting those people and stuff like that, what would you say are the central hubs in Alabama that are more favorable for certain industries or that could make it easier to establish those connections?
Well, we have several hubs. We have, for example, the space hub in Huntsville, like I already told, and then we have the aviation or the passenger aircraft assembly in the south. Automotive is more in the central or north Alabama, and then we have the bioscience and medtech in the Birmingham area. But we have no restrictions for areas, and as I always mentioned, the decision is often dependent on other factors, so it's always an individual decision what would be a good hub for a company.
Awesome. Thank you for that information. Now let's move to logistics. So getting materials and having supply chains and stuff like that. So we have a question from the audience, and this probably is best answered by you, Christoph. What information can you give about port rail trucking support for nearest ports between Germany and the US?
Trucking from Germany to US.
Yeah. So what's the infrastructure like in Alabama? What ports are available? What are the ports? What's the main airport? What's ways that people can get their supplies in and out? What could help with that in Alabama?
Well, we have a fast-growing port in Mobile for shipping, all connected with trains, but also with interstates. The interstates to the north and also the trains, railways are very good connected to the north, not only from the port, also to other ports and to potentially customers in the north. Then we are very close to Atlanta, so there are many daily flights from Europe to Atlanta, and like Ruben Fewest always mentioned, it's very easy to reach Alabama from Atlanta airport because you must not drive through Atlanta. You can drive directly to Alabama, must go through Atlanta. So we have several ways to reach Alabama by plane, by ship, and then internal with the railway network or in the state.
Thank you. I hope that answered the question in the audience. Reuven, staying on that same vein, how does Mealy manage the balance between local sourcing and importing materials from Europe or other regions?
Well, we decided to build the factory end of the year, and we are going to start the production in a couple of weeks. So we did an extremely fast ramp up. And that includes, obviously, that we are going to use our existing supply chain at the beginning. So first of all, we are going to ship a lot of our materials from Europe or from the suppliers we already have, for example, from China. Some of the materials will also come from our German plants we need. So the supply chain at the beginning will be more an external one, and we are going to start at the end of this year, beginning of the next year, when we ramped up our first oven production with the local suppliers, or we're going to find local suppliers, because we want to switch our supply chain of course, to local suppliers. And we already did some research, also with the help of you, and did some had some meetings with suppliers that also have plants in the United States, if they can supply us from there. So yes, at the beginning, we are going to send a lot of materials out of our existing supply chains, but we are going to change this in the next, I would say, 1 to 2 years. And we plan to establish a local supply chain in the greater area, of course, from Alabama and to the next states.
Thank you. And we also have a question along with that from the audience that asks, did you use external support like plant consulting when you were setting up your facility?
When it comes to the site selection and the process to find Alabama, yes, we used external support, and I can really advise you to use external experience there, because, well, we didn't have the experience to guide through all the states and all the stuff everyone is offering you, and to find actually the right solution. And right now we are supporting the ramp up of the plant with a lot of internal consultants out of Miele. So we are not using like local consultants. Yes, some when it comes to construction, of course, but when it comes to the setup of the production, we have a lot of support out of our German plants and experts from there to set up the production.
Thank you. Sebastian, in that same vein, when it comes to logistics, do you use the same logistics partners or networks that you use in Germany when dealing with supply chains, or have you partnered with new ones in the US to make it easier?
No, we have partnered with new ones in the US because, of course, if you just think of the distances that you have in Germany and that you have in the United States, we have, for example, suppliers that we need to use given by the customer obligation, for example, in California. Yeah, so then you have, of course, different truckloads, and you can't just call the German Kühne and Nagel and just get the support. So we had to partner with new ones, same for material, and also for equipments. We have partnered here with the local companies, but for example, we can say DMG as a machine supplier, very good support on site here. So you find everything that you need also in the United States, and you don't have to call everything again over the Atlantic Ocean to get the support. So from that standpoint, we are very much happy with that.
Fascinating. Thank you. Another question along when it comes to plant development and stuff like that, like Varun was talking about, what were the biggest engineering or design challenges, if you can describe them, that you faced during the development of your plant in Alabama?
First of all, to explain the German people that we now discuss about inches and not millimeters or centimeters in the United States. But the joke aside, the challenge was really we have a technology that we had to bring over. Yeah, and this technology has been really brought over by detailed training. So we really sent our US team over to Germany to learn the process, to learn the technology. But we also send people from Germany over, and that shouldn't be underestimated. So you have a very good workforce in Alabama. The people are really willing to learn these topics and are really open for this technology, but you have to bring, especially if you have a technology that is not common, you have to bring that really over. Yeah, and you have to keep the connection. I think that is also quite important. We really established a very good exchange between the international locations that we have. Yeah.
Good to make those connections, and it really helps the process. Reuven, how did the timeline for the plant development in Alabama compare to similar projects that might have been developed in Germany or other countries? Was it faster? Was it slower? Did you run into more issues?
Well, actually, it was much faster than I expected, and it was much faster than the previous projects in Germany and in Europe. And I think one main reason is that regulatories are much different than we experience in Germany. So there is a much more business friendlier climate to set up a new production facility. And I remember a meeting when we were on the land, and I asked someone, "Hey, look, there are a lot of trees, and wow, that maybe takes ages to get rid of the trees, and how are we going to establish a production site here?" And everyone's just looking at me and says, "Well, no problem. If you want to get rid of the trees, we can get rid of the trees." And this is a total different story in the United States. So yes, it is much faster than we experienced before.
Thank you for that information. Sebastian, same question.
And similar answer. So the processes in the United States are much easier established. Support is much quicker given, and decisions are much faster taken. You don't need all these documents, hundreds of documents to get something. And again, here we have a very good partnership with the Auburn City Council, and they really much support that. So if there's also something stucking, we can use direct ways, and we are fully supported by that. So there's really the openness to drive the business in the United States, and especially also in Alabama, is much more open than we face that in Germany.
Awesome. Thank you for that information. Now moving over to workforce. We have a question from the audience, and Sebastian or Ruben, feel free to answer. Either one of you would answer this. Are you finding any challenges when acquiring a US-based workforce?
No, so basically the same. We follow the same rules and guidelines than acquiring people in Germany. Yeah, but of course you have it's much more quicker. You get the personnel on board. Yeah, and we also established certain programs to really keep our workforce. But let's say I would also call this a very stable situation. So we don't have much fluctuation in our Alabama facility due to the point that we really offered the people also a very good package on the one hand, but on the other hand, also that was said before by Christoph Dörr. So living in Alabama, staying in Alabama, being located in Alabama offers the people a lot, yeah, and that surrounding combined with the work package that we offer seems to be quite good. So people are not leaving our company.
Awesome. Ruben, same question,
Yeah.
but kind of an addition with it. So how do you, along that same vein, how do you approach the workforce training and development, especially for specialized roles that require unique skills?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I totally agree with what Sebastian just said. And yeah, let me add two things. First of all, the education system is much different, United States and Germany. So we have a lot of apprenticeships and apprentices in Germany, and we have also our experts coming out from universities, like engineers and so on. And of course, there's a difference now in the United States, and we try to find the right persons, and I think we did so far quite good to find the right persons for the, well, I would say same job description we have in Germany. But it's a different story. So there's more training, and we get a lot of support. We heard from AIDT, for example, and that's excellent. And we're also investing a lot in our external training, like our experts training the US colleagues, so that we can transfer our knowledge to the people working in Alabama. But it is a difference, and yeah, you need to work with it. But it's not better or worse. It's just a difference, and you need to find a good solution, actually.
Thank you both for that wonderful information. Christoph, when it comes to workforce, how does the availability of skilled labor in Alabama compare to the other U.S. states?
Well, I don't know how it's in the other states. I just know the situation in the state of Alabama. I had my own company, and now I work for the state of Alabama. But of course, skilled labor is always a topic in a growing market. but current examples shows that it's still possible to find right employees through, we also do targeted immigration programs or recruiting former military person like the military transition program from the AIDT. And furthermore, I see our community colleges ensure that the pipeline of workforce remains to be full.
Awesome. Thank you for that information. Sebastian, what's the dang question? What is the culture like? How do you handle the global culture compared to the US culture? Like, how do you manage between the local culture and the global culture that you have with such a big company that Vickelcon has?
So within our company or our group, we wouldn't say that we have too much differences. Of course, you have cultural differences. That is quite clear, between US and Germany. But if it comes to workforce or if it comes to behavior towards our people, we follow our global processes. Our way is really to talking with the people, not talking about the people, but really talking with the people. And I think that helps a lot to understand their needs, their challenges as well, and also to support them in that point of view. And by doing that, we really live a positive failure culture. That is not really familiar to family-owned companies from the past. Especially from Germany, but we really live this positive failure culture because everybody can do a mistake or a failure, but we have to learn from those. And that makes us maybe different from other companies.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We have another question from the audience. I don't know really who best to answer this, so I'll just give it to our panelists, and whoever thinks they can answer, please do answer. How big do you see the need of German experts located in Alabama to build a stable bridge between the U.S. and the German divisions? Do you see difficulties regarding the visa and immigration process?
Maybe I can answer or try to answer on that, because we have some experts right now in Alabama, and I think and it also is a little bit linked to the culture when it comes to the establishing of your new facility. Because I think it's great if you can combine the German culture with the United States culture and get the best out of both worlds. So, for example, I would say in Germany, when it comes to the Miele culture, we are totally focused on our quality process, and that we are producing the best premium appliances ever. That's a big asset, and we want to, of course, have this kind of culture also be available in our new production plan. But we also need to combine it with the attitude to be fast, to be pragmatic, to be like more open, to speed up. So you need both, and by using experts, you can establish your existing culture and giving it as a part of the new culture, which will be then the new common one in the United States. So that's why I think it's really important the first years, maybe, let's say, in the ramp up in the first years of the setup of the facility to have experts on board. When it comes to visa and all the immigration issues, it was tough, but when you've done it once, then it's of course much easier for the next ones. So the initial start was really tough, but I think now for the next ones or the next to follow, it will be much easier to access them to the United States.
Sebastian, Christoph, would you like to add any additional information?
Yeah, I can jump on that. As Ruven said, basically, if you once made the step and you get this signed off that you can send people over, so expats, that is then fairly easy. We have, in addition, due to our business with space and defense, we have the point that we have to get the people then also being released to see really restricted data. Yeah, but even that is possible. That is easily handed. Yeah, so I can only say, yeah, if you once pass this this process of getting this this application process in general, the following people are easy to send over.
Awesome, thank you. Last question. This is for you, Christoph. What would be the main thing you would want a German company to know when looking to expand to Alabama that you might have not said before?
That's a good question. But I think it's a general thing. We have some different laws, we have other taxes, but we hear already about the visas. Visa is not a problem or issue to get, but you need much more time to get a visa than to establish your company, your legal establishment of the company. So I always say, okay, if you start a company, be careful, start early with the visa process.
Awesome. Thank you all for your wonderful answers and information. I very much appreciate it. All right, this is now where we leave time for any of the audience you can turn off your mic and ask any of our panelists directly any questions. Going once. Going twice. Okay, cool. Last thing before we end this lovely webinar is I just wanted to turn over to our lovely Consul General for our closing remarks, Miss Melanie Mottman. Melanie, would you care to say a couple words?
Yes, of course. So thank you very much for having me here. I hope you can see and hear me. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, thank you to the Chamber for allowing me to be part of this. This is not my first really webinar I've participated in, and I think it's a very good opportunity for more German companies to really get a glimpse of what it is like to work and live here in the Southeast. And like also Matthias said, Alabama is really a special place. So I think the presence here of the Secretary of Commerce really shows the dedication. But you can see this dedication not only really in such a format, but really in every day life. And with the Alabama-Germany partnership, we have really a great, community on the ground in Alabama that really, I guess, helps everybody to feel even more welcome. So this is Southern hospitality paired with expertise and also German hospitality in that case. For me also, Alabama is a special place. I've traveled there very often, and I really hope that we continue and extend our fruitful relations politically and, of course, our fruitful business relations. And so I would like to invite companies to come. But of course, also, if you have other questions that you think that can't be answered by the Chamber or your local partners, please don't hesitate also to contact the local consulate here in Atlanta. So I hope you enjoyed the webinar, and I hope to see one of you maybe also back here in the Southeast. Thank you very much.
And that should be on. The last thing I will say is if you enjoyed this webinar and are looking to expand into the Southern United States, we are here at the German Chamber of Commerce. We offer a lot of services that can provide you with market expansion in terms of learning about the industry, finding partners, and really getting established. Should you are ready to take the next step and expand to Alabama, here is the contact information for me and my director. We would love to talk to you or just explain our services. And with that, thank you, everybody. for participating in this wonderful webinar. Thank you to our panelists, and thank you to the Alabama Department of Commerce for sponsoring this event.